Welcome back to the Hot 790 News. Thank you for staying with us. A Greek billionaire and heir to the Coca-Cola fortune was arrested in St. Kitts after a search of his private jet uncovered more than $1.3 million worth of cannabis on board. Alki David, 50, was arrested by the Anti-Narcotics Unit at the Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport after customs officials found approximately 5,000 cannabis plants, in addition to seeds and a variety of other cannabis products on his jet. He was charged with intent to supply, possession of controlled drugs, and importation of a controlled drug into the Federation. David claimed the plants on board were all hemp and were related to a new venture to start a legal cannabis business in the region. He and Chase Urgent, the heir to the satellite fortune, announced in April that they formed a consortium aimed at developing the cannabis business in Eastern Caribbean nations such as St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, and Antigua. The consortium has already had its first meetings with business and government leaders across the region and will be expanding its outreach during the month of May. David is an heir to the Coca-Cola fortune of more than $388 million. He is independently worth more than $2.8 billion, and he owns Swiss X, a medical marijuana company that produces luxury CBD oils that have been endorsed by artist Snoop Dogg. Meanwhile, here in St. Lucia, proponents of marijuana decriminalization and legalization continue to bemoan a lack of progress by the government on this matter. Aaron Alexander, the former chairman of the Aramola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, ICA, says our snail's pace, especially in comparison to other territories, is shameful to note. Alexander says it would seem that decriminalization of cannabis is just another empty political promise made by a government that lacks vision and foresight on such matters.
This is something we've contemplated for some time, and we've been reluctant to do it because we always give the government of the day the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do the right thing. But up to this point, we do not see any light in this government actually moving towards decriminalization or legalization. I mean, we've had consultations upon consultations with stakeholders. There was a cannabis commission where Mr. Michael Gordon was actually the chairman. And up to now, nothing has come out of that commission. There was never funding allocated to that commission until he resigned. You know, we were involved in the whole Permandu exchange which took place at Royalton, where consultants were paid millions of dollars to come up with a roadmap for the government. The Prime Minister frequented that session as well. We interacted with him. And Permandu, alongside the cannabis movement, we gave the government a roadmap. We met with Cabinet. Cabinet, you know, they were very enthusiastic. They said that one or two ministers were holding out. They're saying they do not want it to happen. But I mean, it's high time the government make a decision on this issue and stop dragging their feet. You know, and if it means that we have to embarrass the government and take them to court, which we know we're going to win because it's our fundamental human rights when it comes to our religious practice that we are entitled to use cannabis as our sacrament.
That was the former chairman of the Aramola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, ICA, Aaron Alexander. Sleek modern furniture, up-to-date science and music equipment, and a rainwater harvesting system all make up part of the newly reconstructed Block B and C of the Schwazell Secondary School. The reconstruction of the facility is in keeping with the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project and not only includes a number of key features to strengthen the facility's infrastructure, but also creates an ideal learning environment for students and teachers. The official handing over ceremony of the two blocks took place on the 13th of May. Solange Alfred tells us more.
Heralded as the flagship of the future of education in St. Lucia, the Schwazell Secondary School, Block B and C, has been outfitted with modern features that meet international standards and performs as a climate-resilient institution. Principal of the Schwazell Secondary School, Karian Oje, says although the structural work is impressive, the equipment to back up the infrastructure is still lacking.
That infrastructure that would make us the envy of the region, we were a bit shortchanged in the procurement of the equipment. I have written to PCU through the Chief Education Officer to ensure that all the equipment that was included in the drawings and the original list be purchased. It would be a shame if a resource room or a chemistry lab was supposed to be equipped to meet a certain standards, to meet the standards of 2020 and beyond, and all the infrastructure is in place, but the equipment is lacking.
Some key features of the reconstruction of Block B and C include a 25 kW roof-mounted photovoltaic system, water-efficient toilets, and hurricane and earthquake-resilient windows and roofs. Meanwhile, MP for Choiseul, Bradley Felix, in his address, highlighted the level of anxiousness that resided with the student body for the completion of the project.
Members of the Student Council, rightfully so, extremely upset about the time it was taken to get construction going. And I came in because I remember, it was very vivid in my imagination, the placards and the very loud words that were being expressed. I had a chat with the children, I remember, and I did promise them, fear not, your building will be complete very soon. So all of these things make me extremely happy that it was not just a lot of talk.
The project, which stayed within budget and was constructed by local contractor Obi Sedu Engineering Services, was praised as a model of workmanship. Prime Minister Alan Shasney congratulated all stakeholders for seeing the project through to completion. The Prime Minister spoke directly to the students in attendance, emphasizing the importance of competitiveness within education goals.
This school is a beginning, and that the government is now providing to you a state-of-the-art school to give you the capacity to become globally competitive. Because I'm saying to you, it's no longer sufficient to want to be competitive just in St. Lucia. But you must have an education system, and you must apply yourself to understand that the world has become much smaller because of the internet. And the opportunities for you to be able to compete on a global basis are there. I want to say to you that every single successful big business in the world, whether it's Apple, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's FedEx, all the big companies you can think of have one thing in common. They all started small.
The total project value funded through the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, DVRP, including construction, supervision services, and the supply of furniture and equipment, is EC $10,123,734. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. Young calypso phenomenon Oshun is letting her fans in on her musical journey for this year's calypso season. The songstress says she has already recorded a number of songs, but she will let fans decide when she should release the tracks. She also has some sound advice for young people, in particular young women who wish to break through into the calypso arena.
She may be young, soft-spoken and mild-mannered in her day-to-day life, but on stage, she transforms. She is the powerhouse who took the calypso arena by storm, Oshun. The calypsonian, whose real name is Janet James, says the 2019 season is looking bright and she's excited for the public to hear her new material. In fact, she has so much material that it's left her a bit undecided about how to navigate their release. So, she's letting fans decide whether she should wait for the launch of her tent, the South Calypso tent, or sprint ahead.
Well, I wanted to do something different because I recorded the songs. I'm still confused. So what I did today, I posted a question on Facebook whether I should release the song before the 10th or after. So at 10 p.m. I would take the before and after, the one with the most votes, and then I would do that. You see, what happens is you don't know what to expect, as much as it's a competition. So sometimes you have material, it's good, and then you have to change to meet or to reach or to compete.
The young Calypsonian, who made a name for herself with her song Your King Already Reigning, says while the Calypso arena can be demotivating, she would still encourage young people to enter the fray because of the importance of the art form.
I would say to them that they should take the opportunity and give it a try if that's what they really want to do, because I believe as much as you might feel oppressed or as much as you might be demotivated at times, it's up to you to motivate yourself and understand that you're not only doing it for yourself but for the masses, because Calypso is a platform where you could speak to issues that people sometimes don't get the opportunity to talk about. So rather than thinking of the negative, you could use it as an inspiration not only to yourself but to other people. So that's what I do.
The performer also had a word of caution and advice for young women who aspire to follow in her footsteps career-wise.
It's a tricky place, and you're supposed to be focused and level-headed, know what you want, but don't compromise. I mean, we know we're living in a society where it's mostly male dominant, and sometimes as a female it's difficult to get ahead. But I would say to them, have confidence in yourself, and if it means that you stay at the bottom and not compromise, you should do exactly that.
So what's next for Oshun? She says she's going back to her roots. She has answered a calling to bring her youthful exuberance to the folk genre. She says her first full-length album will likely be a compilation of folk songs.
The business community in the South revealed the critical issues affecting their business operations to the Chamber of Commerce at a workshop titled What Keeps You Up at Night? It was hosted at the NSTC in Beaufort. Serious concerns were brought to the fore, such as poor access to finance, human resource issues, quality of utilities, and quality of government services. Led by the Executive Director of the Chamber, Brian Louisi, participants were encouraged to work together and debate the concerns regarding their businesses. The recommendations coming out of the workshop will inform the work program of the Southern Membership Committee of the Chamber. All of the areas identified at the workshop are consistent with strategic mission-driven areas of the Chamber as articulated in the Chamber's 2019-2022 strategic plan. Thus, it is expected that it will not be too challenging for the Chamber to work with the committee to tailor more of its work to meet the specific concerns identified by the Southern members. A follow-up meeting of the Southern Membership Committee is being planned for early June, where a work plan will be developed and agreed to. This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us, there's more news coming up after the break.